Fall Guys was supposed to be one of the biggest success stories of all time. They had incredible marketing all over the internet with their stupidly strong Twitter game, drip feeding out game keys for the beta, tons of fan art, and not to mention the massive support from online influencers in the form of a charity bid war, tournaments, and just general streams of people trying to get even one win. It was truly the perfect storm for a game like this. So where the hell is it? 3.6 million followers on Twitch's directory, but only 2.4k viewers. Using the power of my brain and also calculator.net, we can deduce that only 0.06 repeating percent of that are actually people watching the game be streamed currently. Now, maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe everyone's having too much fun inside the game to actually be streaming it right now, so let's dig a little deeper. Okay, here we go. 7,000 players compared to the 11 million that bought the game on PC. That's a 0.063 repeating percentage. Yeah, that blows. To compare or contrast this, let's look at one of my most recently played Steam games, Valheim, a game that I saw literally zero advertisement for and only heard about it by word of mouth. Currently, it has almost 200,000 people playing the game with a 500,000 all-time peak in its first month of early access. Keyword early access, that means the game hasn't even been released yet and it's already pulling in insane numbers. Now, obviously it's not necessarily fair to compare the first month of Valheim to the most recent month of Fall Guys, but even if we look at Fall Guys' first month, that was their absolute peak at 175,000 players on PC. But I'm here to tell you what I think Fall Guys did wrong, and what I think they did wrong is nothing. And by nothing, I mean they did literally nothing. After the game was released and everyone had their fun, there was nothing new coming. Sure, there were skins and accessories and whatever else you can buy in the shop that were on their way, but new maps seemed like they were not even on the horizon. The game launched with about 24 maps in Season 1. Now at the end of Season 3, there's about 40 maps or so, meaning in a span of 6 months, there were 16 maps added. Which on paper, I guess is fine. It doesn't sound that bad, but in reality, they've barely added any new maps to the game, and the maps they have added are either just very similar to one another or just straight dog water. Mario Party 3, a game that came out in like 1852, released with 71 minigames. Super Mario Party, a game that released just a couple of years ago, came out with 84. And of course, not all of these are going to be completely unique, but you're definitely bound to find a lot more variety in this pile rather than the Fall Guys pile, where like I mentioned, a lot of the maps are very similar to each other. Tail Tag, Team Tail Tag, Hoopsie Daisy, Hoopsie Legends, Jump Showdown, Jump Club, Roll Out. No! How about you roll off? The list goes on, man. When a majority of your maps are identical to each other or are literally just the same thing but slightly tweaked, it's hard to play for long periods of time and experience something new. And I really don't like being so harsh in the game because I genuinely love Fall Guys, or I at least love what I thought the concept was going to be. I had an amazing time playing this stupid game back when it first came out and trying to get my first few crowns. The movement here isn't anything special, but it's genuinely exciting when you can pull off a cool jump or steez all over some other players. The Twitch Rivals tournament especially was one of the most enjoyable things I got to watch. I was Team Clint for life, baby. But then Lil Among Us got really popular and the Fall Guys Twitter just kept talking about thick bonkus and big thunkus or whatever the fuck. Speaking of that, Fall Guys certainly had a Twitter game as well. Most of what they tweeted was pretty stupid, absurd stuff, but it was funny. But that obviously isn't the case anymore. Fall Guys gained 1.5 million followers in like 2 damn weeks, which is absolutely insane. Then they went down to a very respectable 182k, then they went down to 23k, and since then it's been a loss of 43k, 15k, and so on, continuing to this day. I think this is a clear indicator that you can tweet about all the binkle bonkuses and tumbly wumblies that you want to, but make sure that your game actually is fun, okay? Add a couple maps, add a few maps. The main problem with Fall Guys maps is that, put simply, they're too easy and they get stale fast. Fall Guys was built to be played and loved by anyone of any age, so I get why it's easy. It's supposed to be the case that you can jump into any match at any time, and as long as you have the ability to breathe, you've got a shot at getting a crown. But even so, that's still the case for a lot of games similar to this. I mean, take Fortnite when it first came out. It released with like, what, a couple ARs, grenades, pistols, maybe some traps or something like that. But with each season that has gone on, it's evolved with the map changing in some way and a whole new mess of weapons and items to play around with, thus making the game a lot more complicated to get into, but your goal and overall foundation stays the same. Fall Guys is a baby game for babies, and it has stayed that way. It hasn't made any daring leaps in the right or even the wrong direction when it comes to implementing new exciting features. And when it comes to the minigames, it's like you've got some super bangers that are really fun to play, but everything in between is just like filler content for you to play until you get to those really good ones. And that only hurts its replayability even more because you find yourself playing the games you don't like a lot more than you should, or at least focusing on the fact fact that you've gotten egg scramble like 5 times in a row. Take tail tag, for example. You run around for 2 minutes, avoiding enemies to be the one to hold the tail at the end, which essentially means that a minute and like 55 seconds of this game mode don't actually matter. The game doesn't care if you've been holding that thing since the dawn of time. As long as someone is able to yoink it from you at the end, that's the game. That's the end. You lost. And that is the case for a handful of the mini games here. A lot of them are pretty bare bones like that. But in Fall Guys' defense, I do want to say that the games that are fun and are relatively challenging are legitimately a good time. They legitimately bang. Slime Climb and Fall Mountain are genuinely difficult maps to run through without getting at least slightly stopped by an obstacle. Maps like Seesaw and Fall Ball make me kind of want to rip my nads off because cooperating is just impossible, but damn if it ain't pretty silly and enjoyable. There are genuinely good maps in this game, which is why it makes me so sad that a majority of them it feels like they don't even matter. It feels like they're just there to pad the game. And honestly, like I even mentioned, a lot of my enjoyment of the game didn't even come from playing it myself. It came from watching other people play. I mean, the entire Twitch world turned their heads to watch Tim the Tatman go for his first crown ever. That was a whole damn saga. Ultimately, as I stated, I'm not trying to dump all over Fall Guys because I hate it or anything like that. I just wish I got to see more of the uniqueness and variety that we have gotten to see from the game. I'm not going to be the comments on Twitter spamming dead game or anything like that. And if you still play the game, more power to you. What I say will never matter anyways. Whether it's too late for Fall Guys, I really don't know for sure, but I just really hope they stop talking about thick bonkums and large schmeedus. Please, bro. Thanks for watching, gamers. I hope I didn't offend anyone with my insignificant opinions. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, all that juicy jungo bungo. And yeah, I'm gonna go dream about beans.